Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you are watching this, know that I appreciate you. Welcome to another day in the daily life of Jay. That is one of my favorites currently. So I'm glad that it was on. I really enjoy that song. You are the I am. You are. Really enjoy that song. It is Wednesday. It is Wednesday, the 29th of January, 2020. And I had a decent night's sleep up until about 3:30 this morning. Yeah. Woke up to go to the restroom. I had already kind of been wavering on the sleep, but and was trying to go, back into a deep sleep. I forgot I need to do something. Was trying to go back into a deep sleep, and realized I had to go to the restroom, so I went to the bathroom. But it was just difficult for me to go back to sleep. So when my alarm clock went off this morning at 6, I did not want to get up, and therefore I did not get up. But then it went off again at 6:15, and I still didn't want to get up, so I didn't. I tried to read my daily devotion this morning, and had a very tough time doing that. So I'm gonna have to read it when I get to work, because I comprehended absolutely nothing of what I read. So I'm gonna have to do that when I get to work. I'm headed to work now. It is 7:51 in the a.m. So I should be there in the next 3 to 4 minutes, depending on the light at my exit. I don't know. The husband did not sleep very well. I know that he did not, because at one point, at 2 different points, he did get up out of the bed and go into the living room. But at one point, it was more noticeable than the other. So I don't know what the deal is with either one of us and not sleeping this week. Today is a therapy session, so I'm going to have to let my therapist know that I have not slept well for the last few days. Pardon me, see, just evidence of the lack of sleep. I also feel like I'm coming down with a little cold, so I'm doing everything that I know to do to combat whatever this thing is. So I'm taking my vitamins, I'm drinking my emergency. I'm trying to eat whole, healthy meals. The husband took fish out for dinner tonight, so I think I'm going to take my shrimp out and have a shrimp bowl with some beans and some rice, or maybe just some rice. I don't know yet. But yeah, so I had the call last night. I told you guys that we were having our conference call for the Guild, for the Writers Guild last night. Had the call. I kept it short and sweet. I led the call. Usually I let another young lady lead the calls, because what we were trying to do, the senior guild master and I, what we were trying to do is get her prepped so that she can take on her own group. So I had no problem allowing her to lead the calls for this entire probably 6-7 months. But last night I had to take over, because, as I said yesterday in the video, that we are no longer working with the editor that we had been working with. She decided that it was no longer beneficial to her to work with us, and we had already figured out that we were not satisfied with the work product that we had paid for, and so we were, to a degree, we being the senior guild master and myself, were relieved to have her relinquish the works back to us. so that we could do what we need to do with it. So yeah, that's where we are right now. So and after our group conference call, I did get on another call with the senior guild master, and what we were going to do is I'm going to edit the book, because it is a part of what I do as a writer and as a coach, as a writing coach. I also edit, and then separate of being a writing coach, I edit other works. Like I have another book that I need to edit that's actually already been published and printed, but the copy is the copy could be improved because the previous editor, or I should say the editor for that book, did not do a great job either. And the thing that gets me is that people like myself are paying for these services, and the results that we're getting back are subpar at best. So I will be completing the editing process of this book. And we already have 2 printers that we're looking at. I sent the information on to the rest of the group. Previously I'd only sent it to the senior guild master, but I sent it last night to the rest of the group so that they could take a look for themselves and agree upon what would be the best for the group as a whole, because they are paying for the printing themselves, of course. So yeah, this is what I have to do. And one of the people that was not on the call last night, which we kind of figured we might not be able to get on the call because his work schedule is kind of tough for us to work with. He works in customer service at a major hotel facility, and his schedule gets kind of crazy. So he was not on the call last night, but our senior guild master is going to reach out to him so that the 3 of us can pull together and get this book completed, because we all have, what the heck did I just run over, bits and pieces that the other one doesn't have. I have the proofreading and editing abilities, and within his proofreading and editing abilities are even more heightened. He is what I would consider a beta editor, and I really don't care for that term, because once before I've had somebody use that term and their editing skills were even worse than the editor that worked on the previous book, the one that I'm going to be editing again. But he is one of those that he will read line for line for line for line for line, and pick out each and every mistake. And I am capable of doing that as well, but that thing is not cheap when you have someone do that. It is not cheap. So it's not something, and it's extremely time consuming. And that's why it's not cheap, because it is extremely time consuming. When you're working on something like that, when you're editing in that capacity, you can't put your time into anything else. It's difficult to put your time into anything else. So we're going to 3 hopefully work together. The senior guild master is great at graphic design, so she's going to lay out the book the way that we want it laid out, and I'm going to edit, and then he's going to edit with me, and we're going to get this thing done within a month's time so that we can get it to a printer by the end of March, and get it done, get it out for the public for the beginning of summer. At least that's the hope, that's the prayer. But it's all in God's hands, so we have to do it the way that God wants us to do it. And as much as I have talked this book up and put this book out on social media, only to have to retract to a degree everything that I've said about the book, and as far as the timeline is concerned, that's rather disappointing. That we are once again in a spot where we can't do what it is that I thought we would be doing at this point. That's very disappointing. And then the crazier thing of this is, let me give you this bit of advice, and it's one of the things that I tell to people that I coach as far as writing is concerned. And I'm going to do a video on this thing. And I think I mentioned yesterday that I'm going to do a video on the things that you need to look for when you're coaching, but then I'm going to do individual videos on each of those things to give more detail. One of the things that you need to do when you are looking for an editor is look at their previous works, and go through their previous works. Look at, get referrals and talk to people that they've worked with before to see if they are easy to work with or difficult to work with. Just do your research. We went with this editor based upon someone's referral that has worked with them before, but it was the only referral that we had gotten. We hadn't gotten any other referrals. It was the only referral that we checked out because we trust this person. This person is actually in the group, and she's worked with them before on one of her previous books. So we didn't look to get referrals from anybody else. We didn't look at any of her other works. So for us to have to encounter this at this point is very disappointing, where we can't even, like, I sent her an email last night after both of the calls, and I sent her an email and I asked her for the Word version of the works of what she sent us, because she sent us three of the things that she sent us were in PDF format. And then one of the things that she sent us was in Word. But the one thing she sent in Word was something that she didn't even have anything to do with. It was the corrections that the other person that wasn't on the call, the corrections that he found that needed to be made. She sent that in Word. But then her final edits, she sent in PDF form. And if you know anything about PDF, it has to be converted, and you can't just convert straight to Word. It has to go through a special formatting, because it knocks everything out of line. And I attempted to do that a couple of times yesterday, and sure enough, it knocked things out of line, and it was difficult to read through. But if I look at it in PDF version, hey, everything's cool. So those mistakes, those errors that we found that she may not have corrected, we can't correct until we get the Word version. So I asked her for it. Send us the Word version, not just the PDF version. We can't make the changes that we said need to be made. If you haven't made them already, we can't make them, in the PDF form. And her response to me was, you all can get Adobe and convert it to Word. And I've received 2 other works, so I really don't have the time to give your project any longer. So immediately my flesh rose, and I wanted to respond, but I knew that I would not respond well, so I chose not to. I did the smart thing and did not respond. But I did send her response to our senior guild master, so she knows, even though she already knows what we're working with, because she's had a difficult time working with this woman as well. But I sent her that response that I got. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It's just, whenever you're doing anything for anyone, whenever you say that you have the ability to do something and it's something that you've done for years, do it with the utmost professionalism. Don't get so caught up in your emotions. Don't get so caught up in your flesh when someone comes back to you and says they're not satisfied with it. Because I believe that that's part of the issue with this person, this editor, is that she was caught up in the fact that we told her that we found way too many errors for what she had been paid. In simple terms, that's basically what we said to her, is that we found too many errors for what you were paid, and then you were asking for more money on top of that. And this, quite honestly, is not to bash this person. I am sure that she is good at what she does for other works. She just didn't work out well for us, is the thing. And she did ask for more money and was trying to be slick about it, and ended up sending the message to everyone, so we all saw that she was asking for more money. And then she apologized for asking for more money the way that she did. So yeah, you have to be in integrity. You have to be a professional, and don't take it personal. When people find errors in my work, when I'm working for someone else, I can't take that thing personally. All I can say is, you know what, you're right, let me fix it. That's what I can say, because that's the professional in me. So anyway, I'm at work. I've been in this car a good 3 minutes already talking about this since parking. So I need to get inside and let my husband know that I'm at work and get the work day started. So with that, peace and blessings. Remember to walk in your purpose and know that I appreciate you.